Sorry for the interruption. I am continuing a few lines earlier than where we stopped. Do you know that he nearly killed a man last year when a fruit seller who had been cheated threatened to report Sunil to the police? He threw a brick at the man's head. The poor man was in hospital for 3 weeks. If Sunil's father did not have political influence, the boy would be in jail now, instead of climbing your stairs every afternoon. Once again, I suggested to Sunil that he come to see me less often. He looked hurt and offended. Don't you like me anymore? He asked. I like you immensely, but I have work to do. I know, you think I am a crook. Well, I am a crook. He spoke with all the confidence of a young man who has never been hurt or disillusioned. He had romantic notions about swindlers and gangsters. I'll be a big crook one day and people will be scared of me. But don't worry, old boy, you are my friend. I won't harm you in any way. In fact, I'll protect you. Thank you, I said, but I don't require protection. I want to be left alone. I have work. To leave you alone, I have work, and you are a worry and a distraction. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone, he said, assuming the posture of a spoiled child. Why should you be left alone? Who do you think you are? If we are friends now, it's your fault. I'm not going to buzz off just to suit your convenience. Come less often, that's all, I said. I'll come more often, you old snob. I know you're thinking of your reputation, as if you had any. Well, you don't have to worry. As they say in Hollywood, I'll be very discreet. Daddy G. Whenever I complained or became querulous, Sunil would call me daddy or uncle or something, sometimes mum, and make me feel more ridiculous. If he was in a good mood, he would use the Hindi word chacha or uncle. All it did was to make me feel much older than my 25 years. Sunil turned up one afternoon with blood streaming from his nose and from a gash across his forehead. He sat down at the foot of the bed and began dabbing his face with the bed sheet. What have you done to yourself? I asked in some alarm. Some fellows beat me up. There were 3 of them. They followed me on their cycles. Who were they? I asked, looking for iron in the dressing table. Just some fellows, he said. They must have had a reason, I said. Well, a sister of one of them had been talking to me. Well, that isn't the reason, even in Shahganj. You must have said or done something to offend her. No, she likes me, he said, wincing as I dabbed iron on his forehead. We went to the guava orchard near my uncle's farm. She went out there alone with you? Sure, I took her on my bike. They must have followed us. Anyway, we weren't doing much except kissing and fooling around. But some people seem to think that's worse than... Both he and the other boys of Shahganj had grown up to look upon girls as strange, exotic animals who must be seized at the first opportunity. Experimenting in sex was like playing a surreptitious game of marbles. Sunil produced a clasp knife from his pocket, opened it, and held the blade against the flat of his hand. Don't worry, uncle. I can look after myself. The next fellow who tries to interfere with me will get this in his guts. Don't be silly, I said. You will go to prison for 10 years. Listen, I am going up to Shimla for a couple of weeks. just for a change. Why don't you come with me? It will be a pleasant change from Shahganj. And in the meantime, all this fuss will die down. It was one of those invitations which I make so readily and instantly regret. As soon as I had made this suggestion, I realized that Sunil in Simla might be even more of a problem than Sunil in Shahganj. But it was too late for me to back out. Simla, why not? The college is closing for summer holidays, and my father won't mind my going with you. He believes you are the only respectable friend I've got. Boy, we'll have a good time in Shimla. I told him you'll have to behave yourself there. If you want to come with me, no girls. Sunil, no girls, he said, or I'll be very good. No girls, sir. I'll be very good. Chachaji, please take me to Shimla. I think 200 rupees would be enough for a fortnight for both of us, I said. Oh, too much, said Sunil modestly. And a week later, we were actually in Shimla, putting up at a moderately priced middle class hotel. Our first few days in the hill station were pleasant enough. We went for long walks, tired ourselves out, and acquired enormous appetites. Sunil in the hills for the first time in his life declared that they were wonderful and thanked me a score of times for bringing him along. He took a genuine interest in exploring remote valleys, forests, and waterfalls and seemed to be losing some of his self-centeredness. I believe that mountains do affect one's personality if one can remain among them for a long enough. And if Sunil had grown up in the hills instead of in a refugee township, I have no doubt he would have been a completely different person. There was one small waterfall I rather liked. It was down a ravine in a rather inaccessible spot where very few people ever went. The water fell about 30 feet into a small pool. We bathed here on two occasions, and Sunil quite forgot the attractions of the town. And we would have visited the spot again had I not slipped and sprained my ankle. This accident confined me to the hotel balcony for several days, and I was afraid that Sunil, for want of companionship, would go in search of more mundane distractions. But though he went out often enough, he came back dusty and sunburned. And the fact that he asked me for very little money was evidence enough of his fondness for the outdoors. Striding through forests of oak and pine, with all the world stretched out far below, was no doubt a new and exhilarating experience for him. But how long would it be before this spell was broken? Don't you need any money? I asked him uneasily on the third day of his visit. What for, uncle? Fresh air costs nothing. And besides, I don't owe money to anyone in Shimla. We haven't been here long enough, he said. Then perhaps we should be going, I said. Shahganj is a miserable little dump, he said. I know, but it's your home. And for the time being, it's mine. Listen, uncle, he said after a moment of reflection. Yesterday, on one of my walks, I met a school teacher. She's over 30, so don't get nervous. She doesn't have any brothers or relatives who will come chasing after me. And she's much fairer than you, uncle. Is it all right if I'm friendly with her? I suppose so, I said uncertainly. School teachers can usually take care of themselves if they want to, and besides, an older woman might have a sobering influence on Sunil. He brought her over to see me that same evening and seemed quite proud of his new acquisition. She was indeed fair, perhaps insipidly so, with blonde hair and light blue eyes. She had a young face, she had a young face and a healthy body, but her voice was peculiarly toneless and flat, giving an impression of boredom, of lassitude. I wondered what she found attract. I wondered what she found attractive in Sunil, apart from his obvious animal charm. They had hardly anything in common, but perhaps the absence of similar interests was an attraction in itself. In 6 or 7 years of teaching, Maureen must have been tired of the usual scholastic types. Sunil was refreshingly free from all classroom associations. Maureen let her hair down at the first opportunity. She switched on the bedroom radio and found Ceylon. Soon she was teaching Sunil to dance. This was amusing because Sunil, with his long legs, had great difficulty in taking small steps, nor could Maureen cope with his great strides. But he was very earnest about it all, and inserting an unlighted cigarette between his lips, did his best to move rhythmically around the bedroom. I think he was convinced that by learning to dance, he would reach the high water mark of Western culture. Maureen stood for all that was remote and romantic, and for all the films that he had seen. To conquer her would, for Sunil, be a voyage of discovery, not a mere gratification of his senses. And for Maureen, this new unconventional friendship must have been a refreshing diversion from the dreariness of her school routine. She was old enough to realize that it was only a diversion. The intensity of emotional attachments had faded with her early youth, and love could wound her heart no more. But for Sunil, it was only the beginning of something that stirred him deeply, moved him inexorably towards manhood. It was unfortunate that I did not then notice this subtle change in my friend. I had known him only as a shallow creature and was certain that this new infatuation would disappear as soon as the novelty of it wore off. As Maureen had no encumbrance, no relations that she would speak of, I saw no harm in encouraging the friendship and seeing how it would develop. I think we had better have something to drink, I said, and ringing the bell for the room bearer, ordered several bottles of beer. Sunil gave me an odd, whimsical look I had never seen before. I had never before encouraged him to drink, but he did not hesitate to open the bottles, and before long, Maureen and he were drinking from the same glass. Yeah, I think I'll stop here for today. This is end of page 188.